Have you ever felt that the more you think, the more distant you become from others? As if deeper understanding creates an invisible wall between you and the world. You're not imagining it. Society has always been wary of those who think too deeply, not because they are wrong, but because they see what others prefer to ignore. History proves it. From Socrates to Nietzsche, from Galileo to Tesla, great minds have often been dismissed, misunderstood, or even condemned. Not because they lacked brilliance, but because they challenged the comfortable illusions people cling to. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer once suggested that intelligence is not a gift, but a burden. He believed that the clearer one sees reality, the harder it becomes to connect with society. But why is this the case? The answer lies in human psychology. Think about this. When you stand next to someone physically stronger, you might admire their strength. When you meet someone wealthy, you might envy them but still respect their success. But intelligence, that's different. Psychologists call it the mirror effect. A deep thinker doesn't just introduce new ideas. They hold up a mirror to the limitations of those around them. And people don't like being reminded of their own blind spots. Unlike physical strength or wealth, intelligence is directly tied to identity. We define ourselves by what we believe, by what we think we know. When someone questions those beliefs, when they introduce ideas that shake our foundations, it can feel like an attack on who we are. This is why intellectuals throughout history have been ostracized. They don't just challenge ideas, they challenge egos. And people will go to great lengths to protect their ego. Have you ever tried discussing a profound idea in casual conversation, only to be met with blank stares or awkward silence? Ever notice how quickly people change the topic when a discussion moves beyond small talk? That's not a coincidence. It's a defense mechanism. When faced with deep thought, many people instinctively resist rather than engage. Not because they are incapable of thinking critically, but because it forces them to confront their own uncertainties. Interestingly, confidence is often valued more than intelligence in social settings. People are drawn to those who project certainty, even if their ideas lack depth. This is why charismatic but simplistic speakers gain influence, while nuanced thinkers struggle to reach a wide audience. Throughout history, populist leaders and viral influencers have thrived by telling people what they want to hear, while those who challenge the status quo are often sidelined. Modern neuroscience backs this up. Studies show that when people feel intellectually outmatched, the brain's amygdala, the part responsible for fear and threat detection, becomes highly active. In other words, deep thinking doesn't just intimidate, it triggers a primal survival response. For most of human history, survival depended not on being the smartest, but on being accepted by the group. And so our brains evolved to prioritize social belonging over intellectual depth. When a deep thinker disrupts the group dynamic, they are often met with resistance, not because they are wrong, but because they are different. This explains why many deep thinkers find solitude more comfortable than socializing. It's not that they dislike people, it's that their minds operate on a different wavelength. In one-on-one conversations, they might be appreciated. But in group settings, they become a threat to the status quo. People don't just react to intelligence itself. They react to how it makes them feel about themselves. This resistance to deep thought is reinforced by cognitive biases. The Dunning-Kruger effect shows that those with limited understanding often overestimate their intelligence, while true thinkers tend to doubt themselves. The status quo bias makes people prefer familiar ideas over complex, unsettling truths. And the backfire effect ensures that when presented with contradictory information, people don't change their minds. They double down on their existing beliefs. Social media has only amplified this trend. Algorithms prioritize engagement over depth, meaning emotionally charged, simplistic content spreads faster than thoughtful, well-reasoned discussions. In a world where viral sound bites outperform philosophical insights, society increasingly favors entertainment over enlightenment. So what does this mean for deep thinkers? It means that resistance to intelligence isn't just social, it's biological, psychological, and cultural. It means that the struggle for meaningful conversation, for intellectual honesty, is not a personal failing, but an inherent challenge of thinking deeply in a world that values fitting in. But Schopenhauer's philosophy offers a final insight. Those who see reality more clearly must learn to find peace within themselves. Intelligence may create distance, but it also grants the ability to see beyond illusions. And for those who truly seek truth, that is a burden worth carrying.